2022 was truly the year of AI, especially in art. We saw it go from fairly ropey to scary. So where does the future lie? Can we stop it? Is it a threat to our jobs? Let's find out. Over the last 12 months and beyond, we've seen AIs really move forward into areas and to qualities that we never thought. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Still can't count the amount of fingers, but that's only a matter of time. We've seen it move from digital art. Now you've got ChatGPT, which can do everything from programming, writing scripts for the Unreal Engine, math scripts, Python scripts, a novel, tell you jokes, come up with subjects to feed into Midjourney or Stable Diffusion and beyond. There's now ones starting to appear for music. The ones for music are still early days. You know, the way things were this time last year. Makes you think. I've spent a long time thinking long and hard about where I stand on the subject of AI in the creative industries. Is it, from a purely technical standpoint, astounding? Yes, it is. Are there some quite serious limitations? Yes, there is. Well, we all know about the thing to do with fingers. Let me tell you a little story. One of my initial ideas for my cover for my last album was to use Stable Diffusion. And I wanted a downward spiral staircase. Can't do spiral staircases. None of the AIs can. I don't know why. They sort of get one layer up and then get a bit disinterested. So in the end, I use a rather nice photograph. No AI involved whatsoever. So they do have limitations, but that's only a matter of time. Teachers are now getting very concerned, as are people who interview, because if you have an online interview or you've got homework that you're doing, you can use ChatGPT, and a lot of the times it'll be correct. There's also a lot of times it won't be, but it'll sound like it knows what it's talking about. So it makes it a lot harder to find out if a person truly knows of what they speak. What about the ethics of all this? My answer would be, what ethics? They showed none in the creation of this. It's like the quote from Jurassic Park. You know the one? The scientists were so concerned about whether they could, they didn't think about whether they should. I'm paraphrasing, but you know the quote. They farmed vast quantities of creative people's images and photographs without their consent. In my mind, that makes that entire data set, as clever as it is, invalid. It should not be allowed to be used. But here's the problem. The genie's out of the bottle now, and what's more, they've made it available. So I'll make you a bet now, including people who don't like AI have already downloaded that to make sure they've got it just in case. What do we do about it? Well, one of the only things we can do is either rely on the people who've programmed this to realise they've made one hell of a mistake and try to unwind it. Not going to happen. Or we rely on politicians. You know, the ones who take an ice age to decide anything, even really important things. Now, regardless of what you thought of the COVID pandemic, in the Western world, it's not like they snapped their fingers and everything took place in 3 days. It took a long time. That's something that's really important. You know, like when they want to sell weapons so they have another war. So I don't think politicians, it's not part of their priority list. Let's just put it that way. Because politicians are always, I mean always, in the pockets of big business and corporations. To corporations, creative people are a nuisance. We're not normal like everybody else. We won't fit into their little shoebox and pigeonhole. We might have a blue beard. Some people have dreadlocks. God damn it, some people even have tattoos. The point I'm making is they would much rather we were not involved in any of this stuff at all, whatsoever. So they're secretly rubbing their hands, not just for the saving, but also the fact they no longer have to deal with these crazy bloody creative people. And that includes musicians and that as well, and novelists and writers. Same thing. If you're not a bean counter and you're not making them money, they're not interested. Where is this going to end? At the moment, I can't really see where it will. The problems that you currently have, say, with the likes of Midjourney and Stable Diffusion, if you remember this time last year, how ropey they were and how much better they are now, give that another 12 months, I think you're going to see a Moore's Law type situation appearing around AI. Just a hunch, that's all. You know, but that's what I think is going to happen. I think you will see a lot of the low-end work and jobs go. That's going to happen whether you like it or not. This means you've got to ask yourself a question as a creative. And I cover all the creative arts in this. Why do you do it? Do you do it because you have to? Because it gets the stuff out of there and you manage to get your emotions over to another person, whether it's through art or music or writing, painting, sculpture? Or is it because it's a job and you want to make lots of money? Well, here's the thing. If you joined any of the creative industries with the view to making a shit pile of money, you're in the wrong job. Very few people make that sort of money. Most creatives do it because they have to. Now, if one of the reasons you don't like AI is because it means you've got to learn new things, I've got some news for you, Buggle. I've been doing this for 29 years. There are people who've been doing it longer. Not one of us has the same skill set we did when we started. Pipelines and tools always develop. New things come along. It's finding a way to use it effectively in a pipeline. So if you think you can get away with the rest of your life just using ZBrush and maybe Blender, nope, ain't going to happen. Does this mean I'm saying this is just an extension of that? No. All I'm saying is you've got to base your opinion on something. Now, if it's just from a financial point of view, at the risk of offending a lot of people, that doesn't really bother me. I'm eternally skinned, so it doesn't bother me too much. If it's from a creative point of view, the lack of soul in music, in art, in writing, yes, I can get alongside that. The fact that we're now seeing, obviously, ChatGPT, as I've covered, it can write articles, it can write computer code. There's now one starting to appear for music. Now they're fairly ropey. You know, like the sort of stage stable diffusion and stuff like that was this time last year. So I'll give that another year. So is it best time to become a digital artist? Hell no. It's really not. The thing is, it's very nearly 12 months since I had to give up doing digital art in 3D because of the nerve damage in my hands. It wasn't my choice, really. I would have kept on going for another few years. What it does mean, however, is I'm a year ahead of a lot of you that are thinking of moving out of the industry. So maybe, just maybe for once in my life, I've got the timing spot on with this series of videos, and it contains a lot of information, if you watch them all the way through, that will show you my thought process of trying things, what am I going to do next, what are the limitations, stuff like that. Now, if you've enjoyed this talk about AI, then watch this video up here. It's appearing next to my ear, and we'll go a bit more in depth about some other stuff. This is Life After 3D. Happy New Year.